Hi and welcome. So, I've taken some IELTS tests, IELTS listening tests, and my scores are they're fine. They're not too bad. They're not too good. On the first test that I've taken today, I got a 32 out of 40, and on the second test, I got a 35. And looked, uh, when I looked at the mistakes that I made, I realized that most of them were not actually grammatical mistakes, which my mistakes usually used to be. Most of my mistakes usually used to be grammatical ones, and even in that grammatical even in that grammatical sense, most of my mistakes used to they had something to do with capitalization, not with spellings, not at all with spellings, but with capitalization and spacing, spacing words. Uh, for example, consider the word checklist. Now, checklist does not have a space in the middle, right? I didn't know that back then when I was giving my IELTS tests in my school, and so yeah, I put the space in, so it was check space list and not checklist. So from then on, all the mistakes that I have been making in school were just grammatical mistakes and not actual listening mistakes. So when I'm taking the test today, I realized that grammatical mistakes are not the only are not the only thing holding me back, but the actual test itself is also kind of a challenge to me. I mean, of course, the test is a challenge, but I think one might say that I was over my head. I was kind of overconfident in myself. So yeah, these tests, they were definitely helpful. They made me realize my capability. And actually, 35 out of 40 is not a bad score. Although I definitely have some things to work on, and some of them are how the test gives you the labeling format. I mean, there are a few questions when the test gives you an image, and in the background you hear two people, two friends probably, speaking about a design of something, and you have the image of that on the screen, and they discuss what they should be naming the various parts of it. This is what I call the labeling part. The labeling part, sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's confusing, but I still remember this moment in my school where I was giving a test and I happened to come across a labeling part. So, so the question was like this: there was a big image in the middle of the screen. Obviously, it was surrounded by different blanks which had arrow marks connected to the image, indicating the corresponding parts. So I think there were about 8 questions in all, and four of them were the actual labels, like what should this part be named, what should this part be named, and so on. And the other questions were what is the use of this part, what is the use of this part. So these the description of the parts rather, and the description of the parts are given under the name of the part. So four of the questions were the names of of the parts, as in labels, and four of them had to do with their uses, their description. So since the labels need to be in capitals, but that's what I thought, because by seeing the other labels which were already given as part of the question paper, those labels were given in capital letters and small letters. I mean, the starting letter was capital followed by small letters. So I thought, even when I write the answer for the labels, I should start with a capital letter. For example, if it's a lid, I thought the spelling should be capital L, small I, small d. But no, when I finished my test, I checked the answers, and apparently I should be writing small l, small I, small d. I didn't understand how the capitalization worked in IELTS, and I still do not. I'm trying to understand. Yeah, and that's one of the things I'm looking forward to.